Where's the little wooden piece? Here it is. Okay, there we go. We will call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock, like it's supposed to be. Anyway, roll call. Let it be shown that everyone's here, and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And prior to sitting down, we're going to observe a moment of silence. So, going to need to adopt our agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey. Governing board reports.
Jenny Frank, Miss Frank did.
Miss Frank.
Yeah,
There it is. Oh, hold on.
Woohoo!
I didn't get that.
I didn't get it either.
Oh, and I'm all excited
Join the
because I
meeting?
got it.
Well, I don't have an option to join the meeting. Oh, wait, there it is. Never mind. I've joined now.
Sweetie, have you joined too? Well, that would be easy enough to change because it does give you the option to change your mind. One
Hey,
time.
we are good to go.
Awesome.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready. Are we ready for reports? Oh my gosh, look at Darcy. Miss Tweety, you're just jumping at it. Go ahead.
I have a really short report, but I did have the opportunity to meet with Representatives Carroll and Toma and Bartow and also Senator Livingston and discuss education bills with them. And they kind of gave us an update where they were in the budget process. And they committed to have further conversations with us, so I really do appreciate them taking the time to hear our perspective on education. And Representative Carroll and Representative Bartow are on the Education Committee, so I think it's great that they're willing to speak to people in education, so I wanted to thank them for taking the time to meet with us.
Miss Frank?
I also would like to thank Representatives Bartow, Toma, Carroll, and Senator Livingston for meeting with us. I think it was a very productive meeting. There were other educators in the room with us as well, some from Deer Valley. I think there was one from Peoria. So it was a good meeting, and looking forward to future meetings and continuing the conversation with them. They did clarify that I believe the 5% raise for teachers is already in the governor's budget, but that way it's going to roll out is it'll be up to school boards to decide how that money is dispersed. So I hope we'll all keep in mind that it's intended to go for those pay raises for teachers. And I had a fabulous time last Friday at Gavilan Peak with the I Love Science Day. Even though they tried to convince me to push my cart and all my supplies up an icy ramp, I declined to do that and stayed on my feet all in one piece.
What?
So, no, not so much. But great day, wonderful students. They had great questions, lots of personal connections to the information we presented. So, great time. And that's it for my report.
Miss Reed.
Thank you. Over the last 2 weeks, I was able to attend the Pop Luncheon at Avenue 27, which was great. It was the first time I was there. It was beautiful. The food was amazing. It was wonderful to see the students and how talented they are. So I'm excited to continue to watch that program grow. I also attended the Student Advisory Summit, the Superintendent Student Advisory Summit. I was so encouraged by the enthusiasm of our high schoolers to teach our younger students. And there were different rotations that they could all join in, and they were so thoughtful in the activities and the games and the crafts that they did with the kids. It really got down on the elementary school level and the junior high level, and I know that the kids were excited to take those back to their schools and implement those. My students attend Sonoran Foothills, and the team that was there from Sonoran Foothills already has plans to present that on World Culture Day, so I'm excited to see what they present. I went to our village planning committee meeting for North Gateway, and the same presentation that was given to us by the city of Phoenix regarding growth in our school district was given to us at the North Gateway. We also talked about inviting Dr. Finch to come out for North Gateway so he can kind of give an overview of the plans that Dew-Raleigh has, where we're growing and the successes of that. One of the really neat things, the lady who's in charge of economic development for the city of Phoenix came, and we had a great conversation, and she asked for some specific information about our school district. So when she is pitching the city of Phoenix, and she's pitching North Phoenix to companies that are coming from out of state or worldwide, she can also pitch our school district to them. So that was very encouraging to hear that she was excited to do that for us. I also attended the lacrosse game between Boulder Creek and Mountain Ridge, and that was really fun to watch our kids up at Boulder Creek play. And then right after that, we rolled into the community conversations. There were, I think, about 75 people in attendance at the community conversations at Boulder Creek High School. One of the really neat things, I was contacted by a student from Peoria who wanted to meet with me prior to that to discuss some concerns that she had statewide for student safety. And so she's trying to make it around to some of the other school districts in the surrounding area to get a coalition together of students to all start promoting mental health and well-being and student safety. So I was excited to see her initiative to do that, and excited to continue to talk to her about that. Thank you.
Mrs. O'Brien.
Thank you so much. Since our last meeting, I was able to attend the Arizona School Boards Association Pre-Equity and Equity Conference. We started at the Heard Museum, where they're going to have a boarding school exhibit. Actually, it just opened this past Saturday, and that was the Native American boarding schools. They had some keynote speakers. One was Dr. Victor Rios from the U of A, and he talked about push-outs, the Push-Out movie, and I've forwarded that information to Dr. Finch. I thought it was just some very enlightening on some what happens sometimes when the teachers don't understand the cultural differences between them and their students, and how some students are getting pushed out of the system rather than educated out and graduating. So I hope that our staff will look at that and give it some consideration. Loved attending conversations with Kurt at Elevate. We had all the stakeholders represented there, parents, students, staff. We even had a student teacher as well as community members. So it was a good meeting, lots of good discussion. Lots of questions about the high school. When were we going to get another high school? Just so board members know that that's going on. Lunch at Avenue 27 was phenomenal, and I hope everybody will check it out, Avenue 27 at DVUSD.org. There are only a few Fridays left to go to dinner there before the school year's out. Attended the community conversation that was held at Boulder Creek High School with Dr. Max McGee and Dr. Aaron Krasno from ASU Health and Counseling Services. And then today they had a second cup of coffee there to talk more about the social and emotional wellness and the 5 things that he did in his district when they had kind of an epidemic, unfortunately, of suicides in their district. So it was very encouraging to see other principals as well as staff members there, and loved that they took their counseling office and turned it into a wellness center where kids could come and check in and have some folks to talk to. So just some great ideas, and I know this is a journey we're just embarking on, so I hope we will continue or look at implementing some of those things, as well as looking at how many AP classes our kids are taking, and what kind of stress they're under. So, and talking to parents, having those conversations with parents. So he had some really great ideas, and it was nice to see him in that small second cup of coffee today as well. Got to attend the Maricopa County Region 2 Spelling Bee, and I had to leave about an hour before they were done because they were down to their last 5 kids, and they just couldn't quite figure out who the winners were going to be. So God bless them. They were spelling words they'd never heard of, never mind tried to spell. But it was very exciting to see all those kids spelling there. I also attended, and I'm a member of the Deer Valley Village Planning Committee, and I know that in our March meeting, it's scheduled for us to look at another piece of commercial property that they'd like to turn into multifamily housing. So again, something else that wasn't slated originally to be any kind of residential, but within the boundaries over here, closer to I-17. So more development in a residential kind of way. And just thank you again to all the great teaching and learning that is going on in our district. It's awesome to be a part of this district.
So I will start with thanking all of our board members for their generosity of time and passion. We do have a visual arts showcase this next 2 weekends. It is now at the outlets at Anthem. So anywhere from an art classroom to the bus drivers that drove some of our 4th graders down to the Capitol for their Arizona history field trip, to the music we heard tonight, to the athletes that are finished with their seasons, some finished earlier than others. The 2 Deer Valley games that were Friday and Saturday were unbelievable, but the parts of what I'm saying is to watch the parents, and then you watch the faces on the children, students, some of them are, almost adults now. It's just so encouraging to know that our whole staff, no matter which job you have, you are an integral part of that. So as we keep all of our students in mind, don't think that it's not, that it goes unnoticed. Most of what everyone else was at, I was at. So I will say that on Monday, I was at the Capitol because I love going down there. Got to listen to Sean Bowie, Kazada, Carter, Susie, and I don't know how to spell Susie's name, Fan, and a little bit of Kate Brophy McGee. And everybody is very encouraged that we are going to work together in keeping education number one, because they continue to fall back and let us know that it's half their budget. So anyway, keep that in mind. It's not that funny, Dr. Finch. The other thing I wanted to mention is that during our board meetings, we need to keep all of our conversations in a microphone. If we have some kind of technical things, not a problem. If somebody's got a technical problem, that's great. But when we are discussing an item that is on the agenda, we need to make sure that we have our comments into the microphone. First of all, people can't see what we're doing. They watch it and they don't know why 2 people are talking. And second of all, this is a public meeting, and we need to make sure that we're not breaking open meeting law by having private conversations. And it's really, I know that when we're doing some things, we like to, it's just human nature, but let's just make sure we keep the microphone available when we're having our conversations. One more thing I wanted to mention is going to our student and mental health, suicide prevention, suicide, things that we're supposed to watch for. Ryan's race was Saturday, held at O'Connor, and the people that help with that and the people that engaged in the race itself show us that when we have those tragedies, that we can do something positive and keep it going. So I will disagree a little bit with Mrs. O'Brien when she said, I hope we can start, because I think really what we're doing is continuing that journey and making sure that we're caring for all of our students and our staff too. Not a bad thing that you said. I'm just saying, because we start things and they start little, and then we get our momentum, and now we have so many more resources to choose from, to get best practices and to blend that all in. So with that, Dr. Finch, it's all yours.
All right. And thanks to board members, too, that come visit all of our meetings and the things that are happening. The students really appreciate it. I just want to publicly thank Mrs. Roach for helping really run she's kind of the brains behind the operation with the superintendent's student advisory council. We do a summit every year, and it's a lot of work. And the students, it's all student run, student led. And so we are kind of the bumpers on the side of the bowling alley to keep them kind of going in the same direction. But they as Miss Reed was saying, they do all the activities and they design them to be to teach the students a particular topic. In this case, it was this year was on culture, discover, embrace, and unite. Last year it was on the environment, and Ms. Frank helped us with that. So this year we had Marcelino Quinones, I think is his name, from ASU, yep, ASU, and he had a great lesson about his journey and how to think big. And so it was great for the kids to hear that. You can, if you put your mind to it, and I really appreciated that. I also, too, attended the Deer Valley High School run there, the basketball run. And that's quite an accomplishment to run back-to-back runner-ups. That's a big deal. And I know there was a lot of, as Ms. Ordway was saying, a lot of pain on their faces. But I got a chance to give them all hugs and say, hey, keep your chin up. That's a big deal to get that far twice. And so, they had a great season. And congrats to Coach Dunn, who teaches young boys to become men. And that's really the whole point. So thanks to Coach. I also had a Read Across America Day today, and I read The Interlopers to Miss Sprague's class in, I think it was an anthem in 7th grade ELA. Scary story. Make sure you read it. And so it was Read Across America today. So before you go to bed, if you haven't read a book, you need to do it, because that's that day today. That's it.
Done.
Can I just add, we have the best fans too. The Deer Valley High School band fan or basketball fans were awesome compared to the other fans. So I just want to, add that tidbit. And then I'll do what I'm supposed to do, which is
That was
say,
true.
What are you supposed to say, Mrs. O'Brien?
Public comment.
the board invites public comment on the district's business in general and on any agenda item in specific. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. To accommodate all speakers within the 30-minute overall limit, the board president may shorten speakers' times. Vulgarity, disruptive conduct, or remarks disrespecting employees by name will not be allowed. The governing board cannot discuss or act on any items not listed on the agenda. Board members may respond to criticism, ask staff to review a matter, or request a future agenda item. And with that, I would call, and I apologize if I butcher a name, I'm going to do my best, Ava Keown. And then behind that will be Kaylee Ponke. And then Ariana after that. If you just state your name into the microphone before you start your message.
And
Thank you.
breathe deep, because we don't bite.
All right, well, good evening, members of the board and Dr. Finch. My name is Ava Keown, and along with these lovely women here today, I am also a representative of the Boulder Creek High School Gay and Street Alliance. All we ask of you today is just to add 2 very simple words into your already fabulous discriminatory policy in your staff and student handbook, and those are sexual orientation. This is not only coming from your teachers and staff members, but also from your student body. I thoroughly believe that it is within your best interest to add on to this policy because a student's sexual orientation is under offense in their day-to-day life. As you probably know, constant harassment will affect a student's ability to learn and grow, and time again, cases of harassed students arise within our school districts. Continuous effort to exclude LGBT plus awareness is constantly just there, and in order to prioritize students' safety, our discriminatory policy needs to be changed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kaylin?
Good evening, Governing Board and Dr. Finch. I'm Kaylin Pankey, a student at Boulder Creek High School, a student who is a part of the LGBTQ community. I'm here to ask for protection in schools for 2 words to be added to the non-discrimination policy, sexual orientation. I was shocked to find out that I would not be protected from hate based on my sexuality. I'm a freshman at high school, though I've not yet dealt with nearly as much discrimination as my upperclassmen friends, but I've been hurt. I can't count a single day I haven't been called a dyke or things of the sort, and it's only a matter of time before it becomes violent like it did for my sister. She can't be here tonight, so she's given me permission to tell her story. When she was a sophomore at Boulder Creek, the school I go to, she was pushed down the stairs for wearing a rainbow pin. Just a pin provoked violence from a boy twice her size. When she went to an adult that she thought she could trust, said adult did absolutely nothing to help her. They didn't have to because there was nothing in the policy to protect her. She ended up finishing school online because it only got worse. We ask one thing tonight. Students and staff will not be discriminated based on sexual orientation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ariana Mickelson?
Hello, I'm Ariana Mickelson. Good evening, board members and Dr. Finch. I would like to tell you a story. When I was 14, I was a freshman at Boulder Creek High School. I was also pushed down the stairs after being called a derogatory term. This event has impacted my life very much. I am now 17, and 3 days ago, I was pushed again by a different person and called another derogatory term. My point is, I would like you to add the 2 words, sexual orientation, to your non-discrimination policy so that I am protected, so that my peers are protected. I have a 4-year-old brother, and I hope that he doesn't have to go through the same thing I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie.
May Edwards?
Hello, members of the board and Dr. Finch. My name is May, and I'm a freshman at Boulder Creek High School. I wish to talk about the wording in the student and staff handbooks. In these handbooks, they have a non-discrimination policy. It reads along the lines of, DVUSD will not discriminate against race, religion, gender, disabilities, or age. This should be changed to also include sexual orientation. Students look up to teachers, and having a teacher discriminate against them could have severe consequences on their learning environment. On the other hand, students can discriminate against their teachers. My mom is a teacher at Boulder Creek High School and a supporter of GSA and the LGBTQ community. She put a sign outside of her classroom door stating that her classroom was a safe zone for any student. It got ripped down multiple times, and even though she put a new one up every time, she got a nasty letter written and stapled to the wall. Even though they caught the student who did it, there was no punishment because of the lack of the protection for the GSA community. I am also in GSA, and while not part of the community myself, I have heard the terrible stories of kids being harassed and bullied for their sexual orientation. This lowers the state of mental health and lowers morale. It is a simple fix to put this wording into our student and staff handbooks to protect all members of our community. Please take this into consideration, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is Elise Mickelson here? Okay. I wasn't sure if you were the older sister, if this was for the older sister.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Good evening, board members and Dr. Fitch. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be here. As you can imagine, listening to my daughter Ariana has me a little bit choked up right now, but I will do my very best. I come here today in dual roles. I've been in the behavioral health field for over 25 years. I currently work for the state of Arizona in a behavioral health setting, and I can attest to the mental health issues related to this discrimination that exists within our school systems. I'm very happy to hear and read about the efforts that you are embarking on, continuing to deal with regarding mental health and suicide, and I feel like this policy issue fits very well within your plans. I am a state employee who works with a regulatory agency. I have a tiny behavioral health division and our division strengthens those regulatory policies that they have in place. The fact that they can fall back on and count on our efforts, our policy changes that protect the general public from fallout, emboldens that agency to do what they do and do it very well. The other role I stand in tonight is as a mom. And my daughter did not tell me about that event that occurred in 2014. She was afraid of what I would do. I'm the child of educators. Both of my parents are teachers. You don't dream. You hold your child in your arms, that they will have to go through these experiences in an environment that should be safe as we can make it. I understand that neither you nor myself or anyone in schools can assure 100% safety for our children, but I'm committed to the effort to establishing policies to protect them as much as we humanly can. And I urge you in this district to follow most of the other major districts in Arizona by adopting a policy that includes the LGBTQ community. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. We are ready for 5A.
I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items 5A through 5K.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 It's happening.
Did
Yay.
it correctly. Nice. 4 stars.
Now we're ready for 6A.
I move that the governing board approve all employee out-of-state travel per governing board policy GCCE.
Second.
Do we need discussion? You're good, Tina.
I would just like to ask Dr. Finch in the next board update if you could provide an update on where we are in terms of the budget that was established for employee travel, and as a benchmark to see where we're at.
I was going to say maybe we could just have that each. As we approve travel, let's see what we have left. That should be kind of simple. Well, simple
so
being
simple,
a relative
but yeah.
word. I saw Jim twitch.
Yep.
Maybe that was just his knee. Are we ready to vote then? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving to 6B. Oh, is anyone opposed? I thought I heard 5 ayes. There couldn't be anyone opposed then.
Okay,
Just saying there's no 6th board member. Yeah.
Item 6B, professional travel. I move that the governing board approve professional travel for Superintendent Dr. Finch to attend the AASA Social and Emotional Learning Cohort in Nashville, Tennessee, March 31st through April 2nd, 2019, and a second meeting with location and dates to be announced.
I second.
Do we have questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Got 5 ayes. All right, I know we're going so fast for you there, Tina. Sheila never has that problem. 6E.
C. I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the 1 GPA cooperative contract proposal from ADM Group for the Union Park Development new K-8 school architect.
Second.
Mr. Jim Miglarino, do you have anything to tell us about this?
President Ordway, members of the board, Dr. Finch. Yeah, just briefly, maybe for the benefit of the audience, this contract or award that's being considered tonight is for the Union Park Development new K-8 elementary school. Per the land exchange agreement that was approved by the board in January, we have a commitment that we need to provide a 50% design set to the developer upon the 100th home sale. I just got a report last week that they sold their 54th home after being officially open for 2 months. And so we need an architect in order to be able to produce the 50% set. We have used ADM Group for a number of projects. Most recently, they did the design for Sonoran Foothills. They also, as part of our consideration, normally we would do our own solicitation for an architect. We're considering a cooperative contract specifically because ADM Group was asked to provide conceptual drawings to Sunbelt Holdings, the developer, and those fees that they earned for the conceptual design are being discounted from their proposal. So no other firm would be able to provide that type of discount for us, and we've had successful projects with them in the past. So we are recommending to partner with ADM Group for this particular project. We don't have any timelines in terms of, because we don't know exactly how fast. There are 2 major milestones in the land exchange agreement. The first I've already mentioned, the 100th home sale, the 50% design set. The 200th home sale, we need to provide them with a pre-construction contract that we've awarded. And so I have no way of being able to predict how quickly they'll be able to get to the 200th home, but milestone. And just to maybe bring some closure to the discussion about the land exchange agreement, we are still working on that as well. We have there's a 90-day feasibility study that is being conducted as we speak to follow the process to exchange the land. So we don't even have the school site in our possession. We are working through that process as is required for the land exchange. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Questions? Ms. Tweedy?
So I just want to clarify. So when we do a cooperative contract, that means nobody else bids on the work. We just know this will be cheaper.
President Ordway, Ms. Tweedy, no, it means that it was bid previously with a cooperative. So there was a solicitation process. It wasn't our own, and multiple responses were awarded as part of this 1 GPA contract. And we did check this against the solicitation that we did for Sonoran Foothills. We paid about a 5% fee for Sonoran Foothills, but we gave them the design. Basically, Sonoran Foothills is kind of a hybrid between Norterra Canyon's front office and multipurpose building and the classrooms at either Sierra Verde or Stetson Hills. So we were able to provide those drawings to the architect, so they had a running start. For the parcel in the Union Park development, we can't use one of our prototypical designs. It's going to have to be a 2-story building, and so based on the configuration and shape of the lot, there's going to be some additional costs associated with the design. So it's a little bit apples and oranges comparison, but it is within a reasonable amount to see a fee of 5.4% for a new elementary school.
Okay, could you send information in the board update what the bidding process looks like going forward on all the aspects of the new school? Like to get it built?
Just to be clear, the bidding process for the construction of the school?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the costs associated with constructing.
That's correct.
And so I've been questioned a lot about our bidding process and whether it's competitive and whether it's in line with what people that aren't public schools can get things built for. So I just wanted information on that.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions? Ready to vote? I mean, are you ready for us to vote? Already did the motion, we're just voting now, so
Frank did.
okay. Mark, it's echo. All those in favor say aye.
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 5 ayes.
Oh, do you want us to vote again on it?
It kicked it back. There we go. Thanks.
And that brings us to 7A.
Preview contract language for certified administrative, exempt, and deputy superintendent for the 2019-20 school year.
I'm going to guess that's Miss Moffett.
That would be me. Good evening, President Ordway, governing board members, and Dr. Finch. To frame our process and to give you a little bit of background information on how we approach contracts. To remind you, last year, Denise Lowell-Britt did review all of our contracts and provided language to us. On an annual basis, we do bring you contract language for approval, and we like to do that around this time of year prior to the issuance of contracts. So in the Friday update, you received a version or a draft that Denise provided to us on Friday. I also sent to you yesterday an updated version as we met with the finance department and with payroll to make some adjustments to those contracts to better match our processes in those areas. So Denise did share with me today that the recommendations that you do see, we have no major changes to any of the contracts as nothing significant has changed in law or in our policy. She did make some recommendations that you see in front of you. You can look at either the red line version or the clean version. You'll see that she has further delineated some of our processes in order to be more clear to the employee what they're bound to either by statute or by process. We did receive one question from a governing board member regarding why content would be in one contract and not another contract. Specific to that question, that could be put in all contracts. That would be fine. Again, Denise suggested that we do put that in contracts because this is a place where your employees are likely going to read what their obligations are. We know that though our employees are obligated to policy, they don't always go grab a policy manual and read through that within the year. And so that's why she's a little bit more detailed, or suggests to be a little bit more detailed in the contract. But to be clear, if it isn't in the contract, it doesn't mean that all employees are not obligated or held to those standards.
Questions? Ms. Reed?
Well, I just wanted to clarify to my board members, what I was the board member. So item 12 on the certified contract, where it discusses your obligation to notify your supervisor about any arrest or conviction that may have changed since you got hired, or changes your suitability for the job you hold. I thought that should be in everyone's contracts and not just teachers' contracts. So I didn't know how you guys felt.
I have a question to follow up on that. Is it revised statute for all employees or specifically to teachers?
It
that
is.
If there is a arrest, that they have to get a hold of us within 24 hours?
So in our policy and in statute, it's not all arrests, but it is a certain felony. And Yes, all employees are held to that standard.
And it's all employees
All
because they
employees are
work
held to
for
that
the-
standard. So that is an example of an area that we could put in all contracts.
That's perfect. Anybody else have any?
Well, I would agree that, yeah, it should be in all contracts.
As long as it's a requirement, then it should be out there. Any other?
I'd also invite you to reach out to us if you see that there are other items that you would like to see across the board, and we can incorporate those in all contracts and bring that forward to you at the next meeting.
Are those all the questions?
One of the dilemmas you have is we have a lot of statutes, so we have to decide which ones would be the most important. So this is one example of one that should be in all. So as you read through it, if you want to add more that you see in other ones, just let Jenna know.
I have one quick question before you pop up. The contracts that are included in the board book, are they the same as the ones that were sent to us in Friday's update, or were there significant changes?
There are not significant changes, but there have been some changes based on process. So the one that was sent to you via email yesterday is the most current one, and it is the one that's loaded in board docs.
Okay.
The one that was sent to you on Friday
Right.
looks a little different.
Okay. The one in board docs, though, has the changes that you
Yes, it
emailed
does.
us.
Remember too, this is a preview item, so
Right.
you have time to give suggestions
And then if you have anything else, send us your next latest
in an update.
Version.
copy, and then we can see.
Okay.
No further questions? Well, gee whiz. That brings us to 8A, which would be future meeting dates and events, and those are all out there. And that will move us straight over to 9, which would be, adjournment of the meeting.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Oh, all those in favor at
Aye.
7:40.
Aye.
Woo! Aye. Okay, we're done.
Well, that was fast. That might be a record.
I would say